we've seen that this feeling of being satisfied with what we've eaten, like you've had, your, one little square of dark chocolate and it's really satisfying. That's the sort of reward pathways that have utilized dopamine, serotonin, and noradrenaline that make us feel satisfied with what we just ate, that you don't have to eat the entire bag of cookies. You can just eat one cookie and that was enough. So they've done some interesting studies. There was an antidepressant that was originally looked at that's a serotonin norepinephrine reuptake inhibitor that also weakly inhibits dopamine, and in multiple trials they showed that this had appetite suppressant effects and the participants experienced weight loss. So as we can see on this graph, there are several different ways in which neurotransmitters affect weight and this feeling of satiety. So dopamine, if it's antagonized, so blocked, that decreases satiety. People don't feel as full. Serotonin, if it's blocked, it alters how you process leptin. It also decreases insulin secretion, all of which can lead to obesity, type 2 diabetes, metabolic syndrome, of which those downstream can lead to cardiovascular disease. So serotonin, I thought this was really interesting. I think this is something that we all kind of intuitively knew, but that carbohydrate consumption increases your serotonin release, and that you may actually have patients who learn to overeat carbohydrates to make themselves feel better. So think about this. They're self-medicating. So once again, it's not willpower, oh, just put down the cookie. It's really, there's a problem with the brain chemistry, and so these people are eating to make themselves feel better. The problem isn't control. The problem is we need to look at serotonin and bring up the serotonin levels so that that individual doesn't need to self-medicate with chocolate chip cookies anymore. So for patients who crave them, carbohydrates appear to display actual abuse potential, plausibly contributing to overconsumption and being overweight or obesity. Serotonin also supports the release of CCK, and we're going to talk about this just a little bit more in a few slides. Just to back up for just a sec, CCK actually helps to produce satiety and inhibit appetite. So once again, bringing up your serotonin levels will decrease weight. Dopamine. So I really think about dopamine as being the main neurotransmitter that is responsible for salience. That's essentially feeling rewarded, feeling motivated. So once again, we're going back to that analogy of you can eat one little piece of dark chocolate and feel very satisfied by it. So they've seen that dopamine receptors are actually reduced in people who are obese. So they can't just eat the one chocolate chip cookie and feel like that was enough. You have to eat the whole bag before it maybe even begins to register that that was a satisfying experience. So if you have those people who really are overeating, they feel full, but they're not getting that, they don't feel satiated, they don't feel satisfied. Let's look at dopamine and see what those levels look like. So, and this is also interesting, there's been some patients who have used antipsychotic medications that actually are dopamine antagonists, so they block dopamine, and they've been reported to have increased appetite and carbohydrate craving.